Thank you guys so much for tuning back into my channel. Listen, my name is Charmaine Marie. I'm your angelic healing practitioner, and I am back with another message, right? So, listen, they wanted you to suffer, but see, God had other plans. Even in my own life, there was a time when the closest people to me, they tried to break me, right? Their words cut deep, their silence was louder than any scream, and they wanted me to suffer, okay? They wanted me to disappear, they wanted me to die, okay? But see, God, He had other plans, right? And so this is my story. And it may be your story too. Maybe you've been betrayed by your own family too. The people that you trusted the most, okay? They have become your source of your deepest pain. And so for years, maybe you have felt alone, you felt abandoned, you felt broken, okay? The things that they did to you, the things that they said, listen, maybe you felt like you was just drowning in a storm with no rescue, right? So listen, it's in those darkest moments though, okay? When you think all hope is lost, that's when God, He shows up, okay? And He whispers, okay, that you are not forgotten. You ain't forgotten. God ain't forgot about you. But listen to this. Let me say this. This is when I even realized, okay, that my suffering, it wasn't the end of my story, right? And so let me just say this because, see, God, He has to begin to deal with you. And He has to begin to also heal your heart piece by piece, right? And so you have to be reminded, though, still during this process of betrayal, that you are chosen, you're loved, you're set apart for something greater. Okay? So even though they wanted you to suffer, understand this, through God is where you find your peace, your purpose, and your new beginning, right? So guess what? If you are hurting because of a family betrayal, let me say this. You have to understand that you are not alone. There's other people out here in the world just like you that have suffered from family betrayal. God sees you, He knows your pain, but you also have to remember, honey, that God, He has other plans for your life. So you can't give up, okay? You have to allow your healing to begin, okay? So you have to also understand that family isn't always love. Sometimes it's trauma, okay? Sometimes it's just a lesson. We grow up believing that family means unconditional love, and you know what happens when family though becomes your very source of pain. Cause see, sometimes family isn't love; it's just trauma. Okay. So I want to talk about this harsh truth because see, I learned that my family's version of love, it was wrapped in control, it was wrapped in silence, it was wrapped in hurt. And so listen, there were unspoken rules, there were broken promises, okay? And it was moments where that left scars, okay? Scars deeper than I even understood, okay? And so it wasn't easy to admit it, but you have to understand recognizing trauma is the first step towards healing, okay? You have to recognize the trauma because trauma also, it's not just physical, okay? It's okay to feel broken, but you can't allow that to define you, okay? Because see, you're more than your mistakes or their mistakes, and you're more than their silence also. That's what I wanted to say. God, His love is bigger than any trauma. Let me tell you. And He can also restore that which has been lost, right? So this is why I come on here and I share my story. You know, I want you to remember that you don't have to walk this journey alone. Healing is possible, but it starts with acknowledging the pain. You have to acknowledge the betrayal. Yes, I was betrayed, but I'm still chosen. Okay? Yes, family is not always love. Sometimes it's just a lesson. Sometimes it's just trauma. And you got to understand that there is going to be silence after the storm when nobody comes to apologize to you. Okay? Sometimes the loudest pain is the silence after betrayal. Okay? And so what you do when those who hurt you, what do you do when they refuse to apologize? Okay? Let's talk about healing. Healing without closure. Because, see, after even everything that I went through, I waited for an apology and it had never came. The silence was deafening, okay? And so it made me feel, it made healing feel impossible. Let me say that. But see, over time, I learned that closure isn't always about others. Sometimes it's about finding peace within your own self. And you have to remember that God, His peace, it surpasses understanding. God's peace. Even when human justice fails, okay? He is the only one who can truly understand your pain. And He can heal the wounds that were left by silence. Do you understand me? And so you don't have to wait for an apology either to start healing, though. You got to forgive at your, you got to forgive for your own peace. Let me say that. Not because they deserve it, okay? But you have to allow God to be your closure. So I want you to understand, okay? Or if you have experienced this, you have to understand that you can find peace beyond the pain. Let me say that. God, He sees what they did to you. He sees. Even if no one else does. See, when you betrayed, it can feel like no one else sees your pain. But see, God, He sees everything, even what's hidden behind the closed door. Listen, He saw what they did to you. He saw how they treated you. He saw what they did to your children too. Okay, how even they were treated. Okay, so listen to this. You have to remember that feeling invisible in your pain, listen, that's normal. I even remember feeling invisible in my pain, like I was screaming, okay? Screaming into the void, all right? But I learned that God is a witness. He never misses a cry, okay? He sees what's hidden behind closed doors, okay? Think about Joseph. Think about Joseph, okay? When Joseph, he was sold, okay, by his brothers. David, he was betrayed by his closest friends. Remember? God, He saw their pain. And He eventually, what did God do? He brought justice, right? And so, let me tell you something. If you feel like you've been unseen, remember, God is watching. Your story matters. Your pain matters. And He will turn your story around. Remember that. It's called Flip the Script season. Remember, I told y'all that. So guess what? I want you to remember that God, He sees you. Just like He saw me, He sees you too. And so you need this reminder today, though. Let me tell you, you got to understand that you can be healed too without closure, because see, God, He was my closure. People didn't give me closure. It was God, the one. Not everyone gives us closure, okay? God, He can be the closure that you need, though, okay? See, I understand that there was some wounds left open, some questions unanswered, but see, you have to choose to let God close those chapters for you, because it's going to be freeing. You freeing yourself. Closure isn't about fixing their wrongs, okay? But it's about you finding peace through God's grace, okay? And so let God heal you where people have failed you. Trust Him to close the gaps in your heart. That's what I want you to do today. You got to understand that you're chosen. You're not cursed. And this is oftentimes why the black sheep is blessed. I want you to understand that. If you ever felt like you been the black sheep, let me say that. If you felt rejected, you felt isolated, you felt hidden, silenced by trauma, misunderstood by your family, rejected by religious systems, then listen, this is for you. You need this message because, see, I was the family outcast, the misunderstood one. But see, God, He showed me that being rejected is not a curse. It's a calling. So in the Bible, God, He often chooses the unlikely. This is just the truth, y'all. He chooses, listen, God's blessings on your life. Let me say this. Even if others don't listen, even if others, don't see it, God, His blessing is on your life. Okay? Before I got tongue-tied, let me just say that. Okay? If you're the black sheep, you have to remember that you're chosen for a purpose. Okay? God chooses the unlikely, He chooses the weak, He chooses the rejected to do great things. So understand that you are chosen. You are not cursed. Even though it may feel like it, you're not. Okay? So guess what? If you ever felt like the black sheep in the family, the one who doesn't fit in, the one that they talk about, they misunderstand, they leave out, the one that they treat like is a problem, instead of a person. I've been there. Trust me. I was always the problem. Always the problem. Soon as I show up, I'm the problem. But soon as I left, I ain't gonna go there today. Listen, let me tell you something that changed everything for me. Being the black sheep, it does not mean that you're cursed, but you are called. I used to think something was wrong with me. I saw how others were embraced, they was included, they was praised, while I was criticized, I was left out, I was misunderstood. I walk into the room, the energy, would shift. I speak the truth, they call it disrespect. I try to set boundaries, they call it an attitude. But see, over time, I started to realize that maybe I wasn't the problem. Maybe I was just different, Because see, when you different, it scares people who are comfortable in dysfunction. Let's talk about that. People that's comfortable sitting at the round table. The Bible is full of black sheep. Let me say that too. The ones nobody expected, but see, God, He chose them anyway. Joseph, he was betrayed by his brothers. He was thrown into the pit, but see, God raised him into power. David was forgotten in the fields, but God called him a king. Jesus himself was rejected by his own people. So guess what? Rejection, it ain't no punishment, but it's protection. God will remove you from environments that can't handle your calling. So guess what? He'll let you be misunderstood. So He can clearly speak to you. He want to clearly talk to you about you. He'll isolate you, not to punish you, but to anoint you in private before He uses you in public. So guess what? If you've been labeled the black sheep, let me tell you something loud and clear. You ain't cursed, but you are chosen. You are blessed, yes, with spiritual sensitivity. You're not too emotional, but you are deeply aware. You're not rebellious, but you are refusing to conform to what's toxic, You're not broken, but listen, you're breaking generational patterns, though. So guess what? They may not understand your calling. It's okay. That's okay. It wasn't a conference call for them to understand what God called you to be. But see, God, He chose you. God chose you, not them. This is the truth of the matter, And it's for the assignment on your life. Do you understand me? And so guess what? Walk tall, black sheep. Walk tall. Walk it out in grace and in peace. Because you're not here to fit in, but you are here to stand out. You are here to speak the truth, and you are here to break chains. You are not, you're not cursed, but you are chosen. And so what God has placed on your life, no rejection can cancel it. So listen, if this spoke to you, I want you to drop a heart in the comment and say, I'm chosen. Put it in the comments, I'm chosen. And make sure that you're subscribed, because see, this series right here is not done. We're just getting started. And I love you, and God, He sees you. And guess what? He got other plans, because why? Your story is not over.